So I've been reading a book on. I always have like a business book, an Eastern book, and then a science book or something like that. And
Do you read them? You just bounce between them? I don't really understand this. I buy one book at a time and I read just that
I
book.
bounce between.
So how does that work? Just
Matches
depending
my
on the
mood.
day?
Matches my mood. And what's interesting is it's
Do you read before bed? Do you read when you wake up? When do you read?
often all day.
All the time.
Yeah.
So it'll be 4 p.m. You finish writing a script. You go, okay, cool. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to read.
Yeah.
And then there's no system. You just go, do I want to read about Eastern? Do I want to read about
No
business?
system. No system.
Interesting.
But there is a subconscious system, and it's when I want to not do the heavy lifting of presence, which is taking a deep breath, and this is where I am. I love at this, and I love problems. I love them. They distract me from the present moment.
Got it.
And
so weirdly enough, the business books are what call to you.
Yes, they call to me because I can focus on a discrete problem and pretend that solving it will do something.
I love it. As your business partner, I love it. As your best friend, I have no comment. Go ahead.
And that's what, you get that breakthrough. And of course, it doesn't matter at all to anything in the larger schema sense of being, reality, all that stuff. But it's really fun to pretend that some board game is important for a minute. Sure. And that's why I like these business books. But this one was on, it mentioned it, and I was happy to find that it wasn't praising the gods of productivity. And it just made me want to get on here because people ask questions about being more productive. I think that's one of the worst questions.
Well, define productive.
How do I get more stuff done?
Yeah, so I think productive should be defined as how do I produce more.
Why? Produce more what?
Well, if you're trying to
Pounds
work
of
on
poop?
business. No, if you're trying to work on business, the question would be, like, how do I be more productive in business? Is how do I make myself, I would think, more money in less time.
Well, it could be, but what if it made you miserable? I mean, you could be an assassin.
Well, I'm saying you have to be focusing on the business for that question to make sense.
What if your business is being an assassin? I guess this is my point is the question isn't how do I get more with less. It's what do I want more of and what do I want less of.
Yeah. I agree.
And I think, well, unfortunately, people don't ask themselves that question. And so what they'll get is more time to study, more time to write that paper that they have. And instead, it's like, how could I have worked on a business?
Well, I'll defend productivity a little bit. Some people feel like they have to have a job or go to school, right? And it's not their passion. And so productivity is, I have to get a certain amount of homework done, or I have to produce a certain amount of work that I don't like so I don't get fired because I need a salary. How do I do this work in as little time as possible to free up more of my time to spend on my passions, my side business, things like that? You know what I mean? Let's say you want to start a business, but you have a family, or you want to start a business, but you have student loans. So you have to work your job. So productivity can get you that salary in 3 hours, let's say, because you work remote and you outsource, and then you 80-20. And now you have 5 hours a day to work on your side project.
Sure.
So if you're not productive and it takes you 8 hours, now you have to work an 8-hour job and then start a side business when you go home.
Yeah.
So I think that's the virtue of productivity, is if you have something that you feel like you cannot escape needing to do.
Sure. I think the bigger thing is, the fundamental question is, do you have to do that thing? And what you would find with many of our friends is they'll tell you that they have to do X,
This is
Y,
why I
and
like
Z.
this is why I like to not everyone's like our friends.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Some people are older and have families. Some people just have harder situations. And some people are still in high school. So I think depending on who you are, there's real value in productivity if you have to do this amount of crap and it lets you do it in this much time. You've freed up guitar time.
It should be a second order question is what I'm saying, though. The first order question, I think, comes back to essentialism, is what are the important things?
Sure.
Right? Like that's the number one question. And then within that, if you want to be productive, go for it.
For sure.
Absolutely go for it. I'm not anti.
Well, I think Essentialism is a productivity book.
Okay, then I guess we're arguing over semantics. If you think that, what essentialism is to me is when I think of productivity, I think of people with to-do lists and organizers and systems.
Essentialism says you have these 5 things to do, and they each produce a certain result, right? If this is going to make you 10 times all of these, don't do any of these. Just do the one that creates 10 times the result.
Yeah, and then
that is productivity.
Yes.
That is creating the most with the least effort.
Sure. Presuming that we like whatever this produces.
Yes.
Fine. And if that's how people read productivity, that's not what I see sometimes in how to be more productive things. It's assuming
productivity can be bastardized into meaning how can I get more of any, like, doesn't matter what I'm getting done.
Whatever it
doesn't matter
is.
what I'm getting done. As long as I'm getting more of it done, I'm being productive.
Sure.
I would actually argue if your goal is to build a wall and you're over here picking your nose really, really well for 10 hours, that's not productive just because you got the most nose picking done. You know, it has to be towards your goal to be productive.
And so what I would actually, and I don't know if you're going to like this in our business, I think that what we should do is, I think we spend too much time working. I think
I'm on board so far.
I think we need to collapse it. You know, Parkinson's law, whatever you have to do will expand the amount of time you have to do it. That's a productivity thing, but also I think it's going to force us to be more ruthless in our decision making. And I think
you're saying be like, you are only allowed to work 4 hours a day.
Stop. Yeah, you have to stop.
Like you have to time it. You don't have to do it all at once.
Yeah.
But you have a stopwatch, and when you're working, it's like, okay, here's my work. Pop.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna stop to eat lunch. Stop. And it's 4 hour cap. Then you have to stop.
Even as just an experiment for a week, and to let things go wrong.
I'm game. Do you know what's accidentally created that? My incredible Borderlands 3 addiction. I've never been more productive. I told you this. I've never been more productive. Normally, I will just work for 10 hours lazily, you know, like I don't care if I'm working at 10 p.m. Now, I'm trying to finish everything as soon as possible.
Well, that's the thing. I don't want you to finish everything. I want you to.
No, I get it.
I want you to work on your prioritization,
Yeah.
and I want you to cut. And I want to help our team do that as well. Honestly, I think that as business owners, it can be easy to be like, okay, I'm going to work on my essentialism, and then let other people do things at their own rate and however they want to.
Sure.
But I think we would be better served. I think they would be better served, and I think they'll hate it and they'll fight us tooth and nail, because essentialism isn't fun when you feel like, gosh, it feels so good to get the stuff done. It feels so good.
There's a brief moment of like, you check the box.
I did it.
You get to pat yourself on the back.
The hardest thing
success.
about when we got to Brazil the first time and had nothing to do was like, how do I feel good about myself and my day?
Have we told this story? I'll make it brief. But I had a panic basically when we moved to Brazil, because I had been an employee for 4 years. Yeah. So I was always used to being told what to do, doing it, then being told I'd done a good job. Do this, do it, good job. We got to Brazil. Here's what you have to do to grow a business, Ben. Here's a list of 1,000 things. You could do them all. You have no idea what's going to work. And once you finish it, you just move on to the next one, and no one tells you you've done a good job. And I had a meltdown. I felt so overwhelmed. I forget what you said to bring me out of it, but I remember just being like, my life is so much more stressful as an entrepreneur than it was in private equity. Yeah. And I think you just pulled me aside and were like, bro, just
Well, the weird thing is private equity had a ton to do, but there was an amount that you could go, that was enough, sort of. And now, granted, that might be on any given week getting 4 hours of sleep. Yeah. But with entrepreneurship, it's like...
And someone still told you what to do.
Yes.
Someone still said you have to do these 19 things today. You went, well, that's going to take 19 hours. I don't give a Okay.
But at least when you get to 19, you're like,
and
I can rest.
You can be a little bit of a machine. You can go full like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 18, 19. Yeah. And you get to be like, okay, I'm done, and I did what I was told, and I know today was a good day. Yeah. And as an entrepreneur, I'd write a blog post that no one would read, or I'd start half of a sales page, and I go, was today a good day?
Am I a good person?
Did I waste today? Yeah. Did I move us forward, backwards? Like, it was very confusing. Yeah. And I found it very stressful.
I think that's one of the hardest things about this stuff, and I suspect why our employees might fight us if we try to take away their habitual ways of feeling like they did a good job.
Yeah, like they feel.
But I think it'll be good for them, and I think it'll be good for us. So.